Hello. This movie is going to be about warriors, about how 1 minute hero class design is bad design, and some play and counterplay that you have in warrior versus warrior fights. Now, the first thing I need to talk about is my build. My build is not made for fighting warriors. My build is a build that's made to give me a chance against all of the classes. So you'll notice that I have Ripsaw on my bar. A lot of warriors will laugh at that, but Ripsaw is helpful when you're doing 1v1s and you're fighting people that are good at kiting. It's also good against stalkers because it puts a long duration dot on them, which makes it easier to track them when they stealth. If I was only fighting warriors, or if I had a partner that could help me control kiters, then I would not have Ripsaw on my bar. The reason why 1 minute hero class design is bad is because the people who don't know what to look for and the people who don't know how to counter it, well, they think that it's overpowered. It blows them up. They complain about it. But the people who do know what to look for and the people who do know how to counter it, well, they counter it, and then it's on a 1 minute cooldown. So I'm going to go through a few warrior fights here, kind of show you what to expect from a warrior of different levels of abilities or different strategies that they use. And, obviously the one thing you have to watch out for is a knockdown into detonate and then a rampage on top of you. Now, of the CCs, knockdown is the easiest one to counter because you can dash roll out of it. When you're fighting a warrior, and you have to know what classes you're fighting, when you're fighting a warrior, don't waste your dashes. You conserve your dashes. When you get knocked down, you use the dash to get out of it. So here's an example of a warrior who has missed his opening kick because I was behind him, and he goes in to try a detonate, into a rampage anyway. Well, since I haven't been controlled, as soon as I notice him do the detonate, I sprint away from him. Right? So I just use sprint and I get the hell away from him. He misses his trimmer on me because I'm out of range of it, and then I come back in when I notice that his overdrive is gone. So this guy's 1 minute hero has been completely defeated. Okay? In the time that I am kiting away from him while his overdrive is up, well, his kick has come off of cooldown. I'm anticipating that. So I come back in with him. He kicks, knocks me down. I break it with my CC break and knock him down in return. And he takes a full rampage because he is also controlled by tether. So in that clip, you saw me counter his knockdown by using my CC break, and then I go into my own detonate and rampage cycle. Now when I do that, my detonate and rampage is protected by my CC immunity. And you'll notice that a lot of warriors will use that CC immunity preemptively to protect their rampage on a detonate. I do that in this fight. I'm fighting a warrior here. He is a tank spec. He had 44k hit points. He's no threat to me at all. His damage was, not good. But you'll notice here in the middle of the fight that I go into my detonate and rampage and I protect it with CC immunity. So you kind of have to look at the warrior. If he is protected by CC immunity when he does his detonator rampage, or if he has interrupt armor up, well, you're not going to be able to do your own break and counter it with your own CC. The only thing you can do at that point is get out of the knockdown with a dash and then use a movement skill to gain further distance. You're going to see me do that in a few clips a little bit later on. So this is what I just absolutely love about PvP. It's when the unexpected happens to you. How do you react to that? Do you react quickly? Do you react appropriately? When that thing comes that's thrown at you and you did not anticipate it. This warrior comes in, a second warrior, he leaps in and he knocks me down with his kick. I immediately break that with my CC break, right? CC immunity. I dash out further and then I bum rush through him. So because of that, he's only able to land 2 of the 4 rampages while he was in overdrive. Only 2 out of the 4. And one of those, the damage was mitigated because I had the bum rush buff. Now, if you look at my cooldowns, my bar, my kick was on cooldown. If that kick had not been on cooldown, I would have broken his knockdown. I would have taken the detonate, but I would have knocked him down before he even got off a single rampage because he did not protect his rampage with CC immunity. And here's what happened in real time. So I'm able to kill that first warrior, and I have to run because I'm low health. The second warrior would kill me, but there's actually people that entered into the room carrying the mask. So I run into the cave. Notice there that I switched to defensive stance, right? And I'm able to get away because his one leap can't keep up with my 2 bum rushes. So I go, sit down, eat, get back to full health, but then I run across this warrior again on the outside. But what he does here is he tries to do a detonate and rampage on me when I'm not controlled. You can see right here, this is a detonate coming out, bottom of his feet, and I tether him, right? So he's controlled on his detonate. And then I go ahead and I knock him down, right? Do my own detonate and get a full rampage on him. Now, the thing about overdrive is that when it's up, you do 25% more damage, but you also take 9.9% more damage and 10% less healing. So if you're able to control someone when they've hit their overdrive, get them to waste it, and you drop your big burst on them at that same time, then they take that extra damage. A really common combination that you'll see from warriors is that they'll have grapple, and they use grapple to pull someone in and then they kick. The nice thing about grapple is that it will remove IA. So if they use it on you while you have IA up, it will remove the IA. It won't pull you to them, but it will root you and it will remove the IA, so then they can kick you. Or they just pull you in and kick you and do, their damage combo on you. The downside to the grapple kick combo is that it makes you predictable. When you grapple someone, the person knows what's coming next. A kick is coming next. So you can counter it with your CC immunity, or you can do your own CC on them to counter that knockdown. All right, there's many different ways that you can counter it as long as you hold back, right? You have to hold back your CC, you have to hold back your anti-CC until they try to use that combo on you. So this warrior, he's grappled me and he's come in and kicked me. I knew that was coming next. I was anticipating it. He puts up his power link, so he's getting ready to do his burst on me. Now I break the knockdown with my CC immunity, and I turn, and I'm facing him when I hit my kick, and the kick doesn't hit him. I mean, you can look at this, you can see it. This has nothing to do with leading or latency. This is just the ability not working correctly. Now, they say they have found a server-side hit registration bug that they're working on fixing. I'm not sure if fixing that bug fixes this problem or not. Right? I'm not sure if it's related or not, but kick, tether, grapple, these abilities are very unreliable. You'll see them missing in situations like this quite often. And because that kick missed, he is able to run up underneath me, and I'm only able to land 1 out of 4 of my rampages. That is not me getting outplayed. That is the game literally letting me down. Now, he starts a rampage chain. I use bum rush to get the hell out of there, because this is another thing you need to watch out for. Warrior, more experienced warriors, they'll do rampage, then they'll do a detonate, and another rampage right after that. So I get the hell out of there on that rampage when I see him start doing it, and you'll notice that he detonates, right? But I'm well gone. I'm well gone, so I only take 1 rampage, I think, from his first one. The detonate doesn't even hit me, and his following rampage chain doesn't hit me because I got out of there anticipating that. So the fight continues here, and I'm just going to show you how I take advantage of how predictable he is because of the grapple kick combo. So in this one, he pulls me in, grapples me, there comes the kick, I dash roll out of it and knock him down as I get out. Okay, here again, he grapples me, I know the kick is coming next. This time my CC immunity is up, and look at when I hit it. I mean, I hit it immediately when he kicks me. Not that it really matters because it gives me CC immunity. I could have hit it before, right? And I still would have been immune to his kick. But I hit it while I'm in midair. I dash roll to the side, and then I bum rush through him. So he's not able to capitalize on this at all. He starts to try to run away, but I'm able to track him down and finish him off with Trimmer.
The Dominion have picked up a Moody Mask. Double kill.
Okay, in this fight I was actually in a 1v3 on the outside of the cave. I ended up having to run. This warrior, sensing that he was going to get an easy free kill, chased me into the cave to try to finish me off. He had detonate, I didn't have detonate up, so he had a huge lead in this fight. Now, here he grapples me, right? And of course what's going to come next is the kick knockdown. Now what I do is I wait until I get to him and I hit my knockdown, so we do a double knockdown on each other. And what this allows me to do is avoid his following burst. You know, he's going to do a grapple, kick, and then a rampage. Well, I'm able to get out. I only take one rampage. You can see I'm really low health, and I'm able to kite around long enough until my detonate and my kick both come off a cooldown. So towards the end of this fight, he tethers me. I counter with a knockdown. I hit him with the Trimmer. He's able to get away from me. I'm tethered. I take one relentless strike, swing in the air, and it refreshes my Trimmer cooldown, and I'm able to kill him with Trimmer from range. So get RNG'd. And let's just go ahead and talk about RNG a little bit, because chances are, if you got blown up by a warrior, regardless of their gear, the chances are what really happened is that you got RNG'd. Okay, you got RNG'd. There's two RNGs to worry about. Relentless Strike can reset the cooldown on Rampage. Crits. Crits hit much harder than regular hits. If you get caught in a Rampage chain and you get hit by a few crits, yeah, it's going to hurt. And this is probably too much. I think that crits do too much in this game. It makes it too much RNG. And the reason why I say it's not just the gear, you know, that causes you to get blown up. It's the gear plus RNG. It's because I fought some 1800 warriors, and I just don't fall over dead when they look at me. I mean, yeah, sometimes they hurt me really hard when they get RNG. I would hurt them probably pretty good too if I got good RNG against them. So here's an example of an 1800 warrior. And you know, I tether him and I'm kind of playing around with him to see if I can get him to blow anything. But he doesn't. He's disciplined, okay? He doesn't fall for any of it. You see he has IA there. So it's not a situation where, you know, if he knocks me down and goes into his detonate rampage, that I'm going to be able to knock him down and counter it. I won't be able to do it because he has IA up. This is one of the reasons why, you know, having grapple is nice. Okay, so what I have to do here is I basically have to go toe-to-toe with him. He forces me to go toe-to-toe with him because of the IA, basically. So I go ahead and start my detonate and rampage on him, but notice I protect it. Alright, I go ahead and protect it preemptively with my CC immunity, which was a good idea because he was waiting for that. And you see he responds with his own detonate and rampage, and he tries to kick me, right? But it doesn't work because I'm CC immune. Of course, my kick doesn't work on him either, because he had the IA. Now, in order for me to win this fight, I would have to totally outplay him. And if he doesn't make any major mistakes, you know, how can I outplay him? I'm going to lose the fight because he does more damage than me. You know, on a hit-by-hit basis, the same ability versus same ability, he does more damage than me, unless I'm able to make it such that where I land more of my hits and he misses a bunch of his. Now, here, you know, I do some good things. He is coming at me and he starts a rampage change, but I bum rush to the other side of him, so he completely misses that rampage. I start a rampage on him. He starts a rampage, but I knock him down right before he can even get the rampage off. So I was playing it well. I'd still probably lose the fight just because of the gear disparity, but notice that he is not completely destroying me, right? He's not completely destroying me. That's not happening. Now he ends up jumping off the side, and it's not because he ran away. It's because the reason he was up at the top was he was protecting the middle mass spawn, and when the mass became unnerved, he just jumped down to where it was. So, you know, that's that. I spent a lot of time trying to get a clean 1v1 against an 1800 warrior. I was never able to. This is the closest I have gotten. I got to getting a clean 1v1 against an 1800 warrior in the battlegrounds. Because it's hard to get a 1v1 in the battlegrounds for one thing, but another thing is that many of the 1800 geared people are actually playing the objectives. They aren't running around looking to blow people up. Okay, so, there was again the kind of standard play counterplay opener for warrior versus warrior fight. They did not protect, their knockdown into their burst, so I was able to knock them down and get a rampage on them. But they also didn't use their detonate, so they still have their detonate. Maybe it was on cooldown. But the more interesting part of this, I think, is that a little bit later, they grapple me, right? So, they grappled me, and then they're going to follow up with a kick. But when they grapple me, what I do is I knock them down, and then I use a guardian potion to give me 1 IA, and then when they come back up, they try to kick me, but the IA eats their knockdown on the kick. This is play counterplay. So I mentioned before, the warriors that you really have to watch out for are the ones that are patient. They just don't blow their stuff at the beginning. And they try to set up a rampage detonate into rampage. So this warrior, he's a pretty good warrior. I've fought him before. And we're both doing rampage on each other here. And we're hitting each other with a full chain. He detonates. Okay, but earlier he had already used his CC immunity. So when I see him detonate, I go ahead and I do my knockdown into detonate. Right, and my kick, knockdown into detonate, and I protect myself with CC immunity. But what happens here is that the kick doesn't hit him. Now this kick is fired off in between our rampages, which are hitting each other, and the kick misses. The kick has the same telegraph as the rampage. There's no quick movement or direction facing changes here. That kick should have hit. It did not hit. So I set this up very well. I was patient. I sat through his full rampage as I did my rampage on him. I waited for his detonate. I did the kick after the detonate. He should have been knocked down on the ground, taking my overdrive rampage while he is supposed to be taking more damage, and I would not be taking his. Now when he comes up out of that, I would have sprinted out to avoid the rest of his overdrive. But the game let me down. So because of this, I'm forced to use consumables, right, to heal myself. And he'll use consumables later in this fight as well. He's using a better build than I am for a warrior versus warrior fight. I mean, he has breaching strikes, and that added damage is significant. And he also got some really nice crits in there. But I'm able to recover, and I force him to run. Now, when he's running, I know this guy is not looking to just flat out run away. What he's also doing is he's letting his cooldowns come back up, in particular kick, right? So what he wants to do is he wants to turn on me, kick me, and get me in a rampage, and I am looking for that. Okay, so there is the knockdown, and now watch what I do here. I break it with my CC break. I dash roll away from him. He turns to try to follow me. I bum rush back through him. He starts his rampage. He starts missing. He turns to try to hit me with his remaining rampage, but then I dodge roll back through him again, and he misses all 4. That is how you can really screw a warrior. You move back and forth between them. Okay, here's another example of a detonate. I bum rush through them, and I move away from them. They're only able to hit me with 1 of the 4 rampages because of that. Okay, here I'm finishing a rampage chain on another warrior. They go ahead and detonate and try to do rampage on me, but I've already started sprinting out away from them as they're detonating, and because of that, they're not able to land a single rampage on me. Okay, here again, I noticed the warrior started rampage. I'm sprinting away from them. This is really interesting because their first rampage misses. Their second one hits me, even though I'm sprinting away from them and I'm actually farther away from them than I was on the first one. And then their third and fourth miss. Now, I know that this warrior's kick and detonate are available to them. And you can see they have IA. That IA is coming from their shield. I knew it was from their shield because it was on them for a very long time. It wasn't a consumable. So I come in, I'm able to do enough damage to them to remove their shield. They kick me, do their detonate, but I break the knockdown and I kick them before they're able to do a single rampage off of that detonate, and then I get a full rampage on them while they're in overdrive. So what is the point of all this that I'm talking about? Am I saying that warriors are weak? No, that is not what I'm saying at all. Warriors, spellslingers, and stalkers are the three burst class in this game, right? They're the three burst classes in this game. But of those three, the warrior is the one that is weakest. Now, some people are going to argue against that. But the reason why the warrior is weak is because when they're by themselves, it is harder for them to set up their own burst. It is easier to counter their burst, and their burst is on a 1 minute cooldown. So, if you get caught in a warrior's burst, does it do too much damage? Yes, especially if it crits. However, if you're in a 1v1 and you get caught in a warrior's burst, chances are it's your own fault. It's much harder to avoid burst from a stalker. It's much harder to avoid burst from a spellslinger. So when you're complaining about warriors, it's not really that you're complaining about warriors. What you're complaining about is coordinated CC and burst. It's a warrior working with a spellslinger, or your warrior working with a stalker. So in the background here is just a clip of myself working with a friend that's playing a spellslinger. He's in blue gear. He had just gotten to 50. I think maybe this was the very day he got to 50 and put on some blue gear and went in there. We are focusing on targets at the edge of the fight and just taking out people easily, one at a time. Now these people, they're all dying, but what do they see? They see me. They see the warrior in their face. They don't see the spellslinger over here off at the side who's also hitting them. And at the end of this match, I had maybe 6 killing blows, and he, on his spellslinger, had over 20 killing blows. He had top damage. He had more than twice my damage in the match. He's the one that was really killing people, not me. But it was the combination of our damage that was doing the job here. And again, with the warrior, you really the warrior needs a partner to coordinate CC to set people up for his burst. All of them, all three of them, warrior, spellslinger, and the stalker, they do too much damage. And this is mostly because of crits. In the case of the warrior, it's very RNG how much they crit. In the case of the spellslinger, it's also RNG, but they can guarantee a charge shot crit if they're using the 100% crit trinket. And for stalker, 100% chance to crit their impales if they do it from stealth. That is extremely good, people. Why, and they're getting buffed. Stalkers are getting buffed, while the general move is to nerf warriors, because the devs are listening to feedback from the general community too much. All three of them have a problem, okay? And I see this so much. Nerf warriors but buff stalkers. Are you crazy? Stalkers are an extremely good class. So basically what I'm saying here is that all three burst classes need to be nerfed, and the thing that I would look at first is nerfing crit damage. How much damage crits do. And by nerfing crit damage, you might nerf that burst that you sometimes see from warriors that's definitely over the top. Another thing you might want to do is to look at the RNG on getting rampage resets from relentless strikes. There's a lot of RNG involved there. If you do a relentless strikes, get a proc on rampage, and do another relentless strikes, get a proc on rampage, you can literally do something like rampage, detonate, rampage, relentless strikes, rampage, relentless strikes, rampage. That's insane. Okay, so this turned out to be a pretty long movie. And these are just my thoughts on things. I'm not saying, oh, I'm absolutely right and other people are dead wrong. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just giving my thoughts and opinions on things. And maybe you can see things from a different viewpoint if you kind of listen to what I'm saying here. Maybe you still completely disagree, whatever, but hopefully it's giving you a different viewpoint to think about.